There are websites out there dedicated to calling us monsters for what we're doing. And you know what? Whatever.
Some people think that it's completely wrong to blog about your kids.
If there are people who can't get that, who don't understand that difference, then they need to shut up and not be critical of it because they have no idea what they're talking about.
It could be
It's
exhibiting
so
something.
uncomfortable. I tell you what.
You can't tell the difference.
On my tombstone,
I'm Rebecca from girlsgonechild.net, and today I wanted to talk to you about blogging and where do you draw the line in terms of what is okay and isn't okay to blog about. When I started my blog, I didn't really put much thought into censorship or hiding / changing the identity of myself or the people that I love. I've always used real names, pictures. If I could, I would talk about everything. I would basically tell the most intimate details of my life if I didn't have a husband or children or family. But because I do, I have to censor myself, obviously. Where do you draw the line, ladies? Where do you draw the line?
Rebecca, this is a fantastic topic. I say so because I have been invited to conferences to speak about this very thing. I've given lectures about it. I've spoken on panels. I done speaked on panels. When I started my website, I didn't think anybody was gonna read it, except for like 30 people. This is back when nobody knew what a blog was. Turns out that, people started reading it, and I didn't sort of change my boundaries at the beginning because I didn't realize the impact that it was gonna have on people's lives. And what did I do? I alienated my family, and then I lost my job because I wasn't taking into consideration the world around me in terms of what I was writing.
I will not write anything that I will not say to someone or have not already said to someone in person. I tend to be pretty straightforward, but at the same time, I don't want to cause anyone needless discomfort or create problems. There are definitely some things that I will not write about. For instance, I will not write about anything that makes my husband uncomfortable because I have to live with them, and I don't want to hear him whine about it. I won't write about anything that embarrasses my kids or would create problems for them if someone were to Google them in the future. I don't want them to not be able to get a girlfriend, a friend, or a job or anything like that because of something that I've written about them.
Like for my mom, for instance, if I write a story about my mom, I make sure it's something that I would say to her face in front of a large group of people. So I know that she would be okay reading on this internet website that is read by millions of people. She's going to be okay with that because she's going to be okay with me doing it in person.
I try to write as real and openly as possible, and it would feel weird for me to refer to my children as baby number 1, baby number 2. So I've pretty much been upfront with my children's names from the beginning. It's a bit of a controversial issue. Some people think that it's completely wrong to blog about your kids, that you're exploiting them, which I think is hilarious because anyone who's written about anything through time, who's written about their lives, could be exploiting something.
Why is it that when a woman has children, she's suddenly barred from writing about her experiences as a woman, as a mother? Dave Barry talks about his family and no one gives him any flack for it. We do it and suddenly it's exploitation, which is ridiculous. There is a huge, huge difference in writing about your experiences online as a mother from your perspective and exploiting your children. And if there are people who can't get that, who don't understand that difference, then they need to shut up and not be critical of it because they have no idea what they're talking about. It's not exploitative, and if you can't tell the difference, then zip it.
Last year, I was actually on the Today Show talking about this, and Kathy Lee Gifford looked at me over the couch and told me that what I do, writing about children on my child on my website, makes her uncomfortable. I tell you what, on my tombstone, I want it written, made Kathy Lee Gifford uncomfortable.
We're writers. Writers write about We write about what inspires us. At this particular point in my life, I have children, so I'm going to be writing about my experience with them. Just like at 16, I was writing about my experience getting dumped over and over, and what's happening in my life right now is my kids. That's where I'm going to gather most of my stories and inspiration, and that they're basically my muse.
You made a fantastic point in that we're not telling our kids' stories. We're telling our stories from our perspective. And our kids, when they get older, they can write about life as kids or whatever from their perspective. That's totally their right, just as it is ours.
I look at it as a celebration. I look at it as, digital scrapbooking. I look at it as, we're creating this memory for them, especially. I would give anything to know what my mom was thinking when I was my daughter's age. If there ever comes a time where she wants me to stop writing about her, I absolutely will. It's not even a question.
I think it's just a happy accident that my kids will, when they are older, be able to go back into my archives and read what I was thinking about at a certain time or how I felt during a certain situation. I definitely write more for myself than I do for them.
My website has remained about my life over the last 8 years. It's just that my life doesn't really resemble anything like it was 8 years ago. So my subject matter being about my life hasn't really changed, but my life has changed sort of in those 8 years. Thank God. I'm gonna take the boredom of motherhood. It's just a lot less stressful.
Join the Momversation at momversation.com.